Hey everyone, Gary Simon of CourseCetro.com, and today I'm continuing on with this sort of introduction to cryptocurrency APIs. And the last one I did the same exact tutorial except for Vue.js. Today this is based on React, and then the one coming up after will be Angular. So being that React is perhaps, the most popular front-end modern JavaScript framework, then it makes complete sense to start using it to develop for the growing cryptocurrency industry. So in this tutorial, you're going to learn how to use React to connect to a 100% free public cryptocurrency API called CryptoCompare. All right, so let's get started here. First, prerequisites. As always, React requires Node.js with NPM or the Node Package Manager. Oh, but real quick, before we begin, make sure you check out my site, CourseCetro.com, where you're going to find a bunch of courses on modern design and development. A lot are free, and the others you can access for the cost of buying me like a 6-pack each month. That's it. Now, also, it probably wouldn't hurt to subscribe here on YouTube, and be sure to make sure the notifications are turned on. All right, let's get back to it. Manager, so to check whether or not you have that installed, go to your command line or console and type node-v and npm-v. Now, if they don't give you version numbers and they're unrecognized, then just go to nodejs.org, the download section, and download the appropriate installer based on your operating system, and then install it with the default settings, and then reload your command line or console. You can run these and they'll give you version numbers. All right, so the next step, we need to install the React CLI or command line interface tool to create the project. So to do that, we simply run npm install create React app, and then just add the global flag at the end, so it'll install it globally on your machine. Hit enter and it will install. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to do that. And then once it's finished, we're going to use it. And by the way, run this wherever you store your your projects at. Mine's in a folder called code, and we're going to name it React Crypto. All right, so this will run through. Doesn't take too long. I'm going to pause for it to finish. All right, so once it's finished, it's going to say cd into the project name folder. So ours is React Crypto, so cd React Crypto, and then you can use yarn start or npm start, which you already have that installed. I have yarn as well, so I'm just going to hit start, and this will, in another window, launch a local development server with the project. And this is what shows up at localhost 3000. So this is just the default template. It says just get started, use the source app.js, and save to reload automatically. So we're not going to do that just yet. Instead, I'm going to, by the way, I'm using Commander, which is this console emulator for Windows. If you just, let me bring that up real quick. If we right click, we can choose new console, hit start. We're going to go back to the same project folder, so it's going to be cd code React Crypto. And this way, the reason I'm doing this is so I don't have to stop this the start command. And we're going to use npm to install Axios, which is an HTTP client library. And we also use the same library for Vue.js. And this simply allows us to make calls, to get calls to the public API from CryptoCompare. So I'm just going to wait for this to install, and I'll come right back. All right, so once that is finished, you can open up your code editor. I'm using Visual Studio Code, which is free from Microsoft, and we have our React Crypto folder open right here, and this is the folder and file structure. So we're going to keep this real simple. We're not going to have multiple components or anything. So we're going to navigate to that source app.js component, which is really all the logic and the basic template that we see here currently right here. So we're going to be gutting all this. But first, before we work on the template section, we're going to import Axios, which we just installed with npm. So import Axios from Axios. All right, and then next in our component logic, which just resides right here within the class, we're going to create a constructor, and we're going to pass in props for our properties. We're going to use super props here, and then this dot state is going to equal an object containing our properties. So we're just going to have cryptos as an array right here. This is going to hold the response from the API request that we're going to be doing. Next, after that, we're going to use the component did mount function and did mount. And all that does is essentially anything inside of here will be executed once this component loads, or the app loads by default, in the case of, us just using the default app component. So then inside of here is where we make our Axios get call. So Axios get, and then this is where the URL goes for the API endpoint. Now, let me just show you real quickly the CryptoCompare API documentation. So you can see here, this is the URL, cryptocompare.com/API. We want to go to the data section, and this is going to provide you with all of the endpoints and the URL parameters and the return data. So you can do one for the entire coin list. Now this is huge. So you get just general info on all of the coins available on the website, and it will return an example right here, for instance, of the data associated, like with LTC, which is Litecoin. You're going to get the URL, image URL, the name of it, the coin name, the full name of the coin, and just a few more other properties are associated with each coin. And there's tons that are returned. So this particular call does take a little bit of time to actually process. And so this is the URL where you would put in that GET request. We're not going to do that though. We're going to focus on price because it's a lot quicker. And we're going to use the one that is price multi. And I like this just because it allows you to specify, any type of cryptocurrency here, and then also the currencies that it will show you that these currencies are worth. So we're just going to use this example right here, except I slightly changed it up. I'm going to copy that real quick off screen, and I'm going to paste it right in here. All right, so I'm going to hit Control B to get rid of the sidebar. So Axios, so we could see that we're using the price multi here, and then we have two different parameters, fsims and also tsims. So we're going to get the data for the price data for Bitcoin, ETH is Ethereum, and IoT is IOTA. And then I only want the US dollar amount or equivalent of what they're currently worth. Next, we'll put in then. So once it gets the response, we're going to say response arrow function. We're going to create a constant of cryptos, and we're going to say it's going to be response. You could just put response, but we only want the data property of the response. If you want to see the full response, we can console log cryptos right here. And you'll see that once we do this, we'll see we have the data's or the data property. And that's the only thing that we're really interested in. And then we're going to use this that set state, pass in cryptos, and bind it to cryptos. So now let's save that. And we have this failed to compile error. Found that it's fixed that if we just rerun the npm or yarn start command in the console. All right, so hit Control C, hit Y, do this again. Oh, that's right. There's an issue right now that doesn't seem to be working out based on my research, where you have to run npm and install once more, and then you can run yarn start or npm start and it will work. And it's based on, I believe, the npm version that's currently being used. I may have an older one. But yeah, anybody, if you found a solution to this particular issue, just mention it there in the YouTube comments. Now, once it's finished, I'm going to run yarn start once again. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it's rerun. And here we are. If I hit Control-Shift-I, we'll get up our console. We'll see we have the object that we console logged, and here we go. So we have Bitcoin, Ethereum, and IOTA being returned in this object. So now let's go back, and now we can work on our actual template section right here. So we're going to get everything between div class name is app, and we're going to put in some curly braces with object keys. And this is because what's being returned up here is not really an array. It's an object. So to get access to the keys, we use object keys. We pass in this state cryptos. Scripts, what am I doing? I'm reading something else. Cryptos. And we map it, and we take the key. We use arrow functions here. And then inside of here is where we do the actual iterable. So we're going to put a div ID of crypto container. Inside of here, we're going to put a span class name of left. And it's one of the reasons I do not like, one of the very small reasons why I don't like React here. You have to put class name instead of class. Also, class name of right. So the key, of course, will accept, or it'll display, BTC, ETH, or IoT. And then to get the actual value, we use this state cryptos, and then we get the key USD. And USD, if you recall, is the property name associated with the US dollar amount. All right, so let's go ahead and save this. Check it out in a browser. And this is what it looks like. Very, 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 very ugly. So also logo is defined but never used. Let's go ahead and fix that real quick. We're going to remove this logo. We're going to hit Control B. We're going to go to the app CSS. And I'm just going to paste in 4 different rule sets here. You can find these at the written version of the tutorial, which is linked in the first line of the description here on YouTube. And this is all I'm doing. It's just going to make it look a lot better. And now if we go back, there we go. Something a lot better. So also notice this looks horrible because these aren't correctly and properly formatted numbers for US dollars. So to fix that, real quickly, just to show you, because chances are if you're doing cryptocurrencies, you may be displaying dollar amounts in some form. So let's go back to our console and the other tab right here, and we're going to use npm to install a package. So npm install react number format, save it as a dependency, and this should go pretty quickly. All right, that's done. We're going to go back to our app.js. We're going to import or assign a variable rather to React number format, which we just included. And then right down here, I'm just going to copy this real quick. And we're going to put in, the way we use that package is by number format. The value equals what we just copied. And then display type will be text. And then also decimal precision equals 2, because we only need 2 decimal points for the US dollar amount. And then we also need 1000 separator equals true, and that's obvious. And then prefix, we'll say equals the dollar amount. There. So let's save it and see if this sucker works. All right, I must have messed up that property because there should be a comma. Let me go back. Yeah, it's because I don't know how to spell. Yeah, it can't be an E, it's supposed to be an A there. And then there we go. Awesome. And that is it essentially. So, I obviously CryptoCompare, it provides you with a ton of potential endpoints for you to gather a lot of information. So I suggest definitely checking that out. Now, some of these you may need to install when you're developing, at least this Cores plugin here, if you're going to use Chrome. And this allows, this adds the allow control, allow origin to any. And that way, if you run into an error running some of these, like CoinList, I believe, like if you try to access this, you will need to enable that in order for it to work correctly. All right. So hopefully you learned a lot throughout this, and if you're interested in learning how to do the same process in Angular or Vue, you can also check out those associated tutorials. Check out coursetro.com, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.